Thank you for taking time to be here. It's always a pleasure to come back to Kumasi, which I haven't done in like probably 10 years.
Oh.
I know, that's a long time, and so it's really good to be back. I was born here, so I have the fire in me. Yes, the sacred fire. And so tonight I want to take the opportunity to share a bit about Coders Who Travel. The name just came out of my experiences. I was like, I wanted to create this first sub-Saharan network for women who code, and I had to travel, pack up, and come to Ghana in late 2015. And while there was, in-country, expense coverage, financial and operational coverage, there was none for me packing up, because everybody thought it was a bit extreme, really. And but I really cared about, Ghanaian young women because I used to be like them. And so I was like, I haven't been to Ghana in like 7 years since moving to the US, so why not come and do that? And so after I did that, like I said, the journey, the challenges, the triumphs, started creating buzz on BBC Africa and Huffington Post. And so in this picture, you see someone who was my former co-worker at Mathematical Policy Research. This man, she's really like the grandfather on the team, but he really has a young heart. And this is a very dear friend from my days back studying graduate school at George Mason University. And so it's a big idea that we want to inspire and advance the careers of coders. By that we mean mathematical and computer programmers in the less developed regions of the world. We are using Ghana as the international model. That's why we are here. We hope a local model would be a state called West Virginia, where there are coal miners who are also struggling with layoffs. And some of our researchers think that they have a logical framework to really understand programming. And so we are looking at that. Obviously, once we create successful models and testing and research, today you've seen some of our market research studies, which is focus group discussions and expert interviews. So today we've seen expert interviews, and we really want to understand, Ghanaians and the culture and what are the barriers in people's path when they want to learn computer programming. We don't want to just be an organization that just assumes that what works in a developed country like the US or Canada or Australia or London will work here, and we don't want to do that. So Coders Who Travel is a US-based 501c3 tax-exempt organization. We formerly operated out of Elkridge, which was really Christina's home. This is a co-working space and a beautiful facility. It's an entrepreneurial facility. We hope to just sustain it during the summers because it's really expensive and we are just a technology startup. Next slide, please. So about us, I'll be talking about our vision, mission, and model countries, some of our strategy and cost of services. It's really evolving, the cost of services, because the more we learn, the more we realize we have to tweak. So really don't focus on that. I want you to focus on the vision, mission, and the various ways that you can share this story with 2 or 3 people in your network. Usually when we say people should talk about donating or something, they think of them, but it's not really when you think of the 2 or 3 people in your network, someone might be able to help more. Next slide. So about us, we really combine, again, we are really always evolving. We want to combine local gurus, which are like people based right here in Ghana, who are doing great. We want to combine them with people like me, who used to live here, and I've also made home in US and have some kind of programming experience, not some kind, but let's say about 80 years programming experience. And then the expert are 10 plus years professional programmers or closely related fields that are really interested in helping people back here, and we are committed to finding them. Next slide. Like I said, our vision is to inspire and advance the careers of computer and mathematical programmers in less developed regions of the world. We want to combine local groups. We need to update these slides, bridge builders and experts to travel and deliver applied knowledge, which is really project-based knowledge. And a lot of the discussion today, we saw how there's been an entrenched, systemic problem dating back to, via high school and university days, where people just get the theory and not necessarily enough practicals. And it's not really anyone's fault. We've heard of student, ratios, student-lecturer ratios that are, that prevents some of these project-based knowledge. If you want to look us up, this is our employer ID. And like I said, this is the co-working space that we maintain just during the summers. Next slide. So bridge builders, I think I already talked about it. So if you can imagine US and Ghana, they've had some exposure. Really want to focus on 80% to 70% women, because naturally in these settings, when I graduated from computer science and statistics, it was 15 women to about 120. And so we are trying to be cognizant of the fact that, guys, can we, hello?
Chris.
The more I stay, I become nervous.
Yeah? Okay, keep going.
Okay, so like I was saying, when I graduated from University of Ghana in 2007, I was around 15, I was even about 12 to over 100 plus males. And so, we're not shy now. A lot of times people say, why just women? We're not just saying, why just women? We are saying that there's a huge gap, and we want to be mindful of that. But so we are leaving 20% to 30% for, we always call it the good few men that come our way, and we don't want to, drive them away just because we are just trying to bridge the gap for women. Next slide. So like I said, the experts, for this international model, they currently are in the United States. My guess is we would like to go to Japan shortly, so if you know some contacts in Japan, this is a good time to, and it's Japan that I'm thinking about, or we're thinking about, because I was listening to Bloomberg the other day, and it's like, they said Japan is the most profitable country. I'm like, but they are so quiet. So, and not only that, studies show that they have really theoretical education systems too, just like we are experiencing here, but for some reason they're able to adjust and become more post-graduation. So it'll be very interesting to learn what that country has to offer and what they are doing that makes them convert easily from having heavy theoretical emphasis to being very innovative, and being so profitable in the world. And 15% of our experts are willing to travel to a developing country when you get rid of airlines, cost, hotels, insurance, and other constraints are reduced. And it's very interesting, like when you are coming back home, you usually have to go for health insurance. Okay, so in 2015, when I was coming back, I took a trip to the passport office. By the time they combined all the necessary injection, it was like $450. Like, because like when I was very newbie to traveling, it was like I used to pay about like so 2015 I came just focused on living at Yiri Lodge, which was on university campus, and nothing happened. This year, I decided, okay, me too. As soon as I landed, it was a shock to my system. I mean, I got sick, So it's really real, the health insurance. People think about that, and maybe it's part of, I mean, I'm a faith person. Maybe God wanted me to experience what a foreigner might experience, that they are really concerned with their health. Malaria, where am I going to live, and all that. And most of them want to help remotely. But the problem is, we have a problem with internet access here too. So the remotely becomes like a challenge, when the internet is spotty and it's like, they don't know what's going on, like, why don't we just get internet? But the problem of internet access is also very real for the youth of Ghana. The last time I did the research was like, in US you can get about $40 US, 24 access to internet, and at certain speeds, and it was about $90 for half the speed levels, so maybe when George comes, I'll be really interested how he's managing the internet connection, because you guys have strong Wi-Fi so far, so I like to do, so shout outs to that, but that's something for George to answer. Now, a lot of times when we think of all these, we think that it's cash that people want, but people are being very innovative. Like, there's something called paid time off, which is like your vacation accrual in developed countries, and someone gets very sick, and then I learn about it, and I have accrued, PTO for short. I can't give that person money, but I can donate my PTO, and it's called a PTO bank. The Red Cross has something similar for blood bank, So we are trying to think of how can we innovate this and create this passion in corporate America for software engineers, all the way through the data scientists and mathematicians, that maybe I cannot go to a developing country, but could I donate my excess, airline miles to a corporation that wants to, inspire and advance coders in less countries? And so they're really looking for people that can help us convince these partners to create banks for, the airline, hotels. And our Airbnb is here, so maybe an Airbnb bank, and all that. So next slide. So our numbers, digging deeper. Yeah, next slide. And so at our core, we just want to deliver applied knowledge. We don't want to be duplicative of what already exists. That's why we are taking time to talk a lot with people before rolling out any solutions. We just want to supplement theoretical curriculums with project-based applications. And the next thing is just world-class experience. When you graduate, I was watching KSM with Kweku Sintimi's video, and there's a lecturer at the University of Ghana called Dr. Owusu-Forfie, who also manages the National Science and Maths quiz, and she was sharing that the winners of a particular year, I think it was maybe last year, they went and competed at a national level. And even though they had won in Ghana, I mean, the young, guys, as soon as they took them national, they lost their confidence and they couldn't really perform. And, so I was like, hey. So, and I was like, oh, I think Dr. Kaufman understands this issue that we are trying to form. Can a student here graduate full of confidence that if they meet an American or a Canadian counterpart, they'll have the confidence and say that, oh, Canada, crap, This is African University, like we want to get that, and then this will be a byproduct of these two things, Today we formed a network, like when we leave here, we'll keep each other, like create a little email contacts, and that's a community. Every time different people meet together and exchange ideas, particularly break bread. That's what I always say, hey, we should eat something like that. Again, shout outs to Kumasi Hive, you guys treat us as a jollof. We didn't even request that, so you are really different, in this Ghanaian economy. Keep going. Next slide. So just a brief timeline of where Owusu travel has been. Late 2016, the idea sort of came while I was at the lawyer's office, struggling to understand why didn't I get financial coverage for my trip, and the lawyer was like, no, maybe you can start your own thing. This is not a big deal. And then, my friends came on board, and in 2016, December 2016, just before the year end, I was like, I want to do this. So we filed the entity, and I was living in Maryland at the time, and Christina here had just bought like a condo there, and so it was a good idea. I'm now in Virginia, but I think she's always had my back, so I'm just fine. And then that was where George came in. We did the 2-weekend series in March 2017. It was really just 3 months, so ambition. And then when we flew them, we were saying, do you want to do this? They were like, we have deadlines, but as soon as we said, well, we'll fly you from Accra to Kumasi. And we will let Vivian host you, and Vivian says you cook for the Appiah and contemporary the one, and they're like, no reason for us not to go. So they came, and one of them, Angela, did a career workshop right here, and Ikua Ahinkra also did like a Python workshop, and we have pictures and lots of video content. So we are really looking for people that can go through some of the stuff that we captured and make it 30 seconds and 1 minute. Right now that we've been underground doing the research now, we really want to start promotion. Yeah. So this is really 6 months, right? So this is June. I was like, oh, let me take a trip to Israel. I just heard about it. I've always wanted to go. And my birthday is also in June. So I remember we submitted it like maybe 15th of June. Then I went to Israel for like 1-2 weeks. Had my own impressions. It was great, but I had questions. One of the questions, I remember one of the scripture verses that kept resonating in my heart all through the trip was, he came into his own and his own did not receive him. That was so powerful for me. But anyways, on June 27th, can you imagine? They approved it 6 months after filing, and the next day was my birthday. So I really think, I maybe it has to do with Israel or my birthday, but either way, it was a great thing. And then at that time, I was working at Deloitte, and so the partner who hired me, Rob Grams, he's so great. Actually, I shouldn't say his name because he likes to be. So we edited that out. He likes to be underground. You'll find him anywhere on social media. He just likes to hide. And he helped host a fundraiser. He basically paid for and approved like the use of the room. And then at that time, they did like an open mic, which is like come and sing. And so I met these 8 great people who were like, we are doing a fundraiser, I want to come and sing. So they all came to sing. Again, we have all this video content, so you can share it with your friends. We are looking to people to promote 30 seconds, 1 minute videos, sharp, so that our Instagram can start, lighting up. And then I've always been taking counsel over the years from people, but we really kicked off advisory groups, and I think Dr. Jackson got to be part of it, and we experienced the spotty internet, even with him at that time. And but one of the things that the value Dr. Jackson has brought, and I don't want to touch on a lot because we will be doing an expert interview with him. Next slide. So somewhere in, about January 2018, someone He's actually originally from Netherlands. Has a girlfriend in Bogota, Colombia, and was taking a trip through the Asian belt. Wanted to do Vietnam, Singapore, Indonesia, and I forget the other one. And then he said, I just go and saw coders who travel. So Charlie, people, let me take you on model through that. And he was great. He was an hour expert in Shiny, and we tried so hard. We sent letters to, people within Ho Chi Minh City, which is, I don't know if it's a capital of Vietnam or anything. And then I was working with a guy who was from South Korea, and he tried so hard to let his friends, make the thing happen. We tried so hard, but it didn't work. And it's a clear example that people really sometimes just react better to people they know and they share a culture with, because even though we tried hard, it didn't really open doors for Wim. And so unfortunately Wim just took the vacation and didn't do his art workshops. And then Impact Day, we garnered feedback from some people, professionals in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and 3 of them actually joined Coders Who Travel. How about that? And we've done focus group discussion last September. We've done another one for C-suite executives for one of the reasons why I came. And today we are doing these expert interviews. And we've already had our second fundraiser. We found this nice stage where artists usually play, and we held a fundraiser. And we all had good food. And my mother really came out to really help too, so it was special. Next slide. So we have an online community that is already past 1,500. So now I can't keep up. I'm looking for more community engagement, people who just we quickly reach out people at a minimum of 2 weeks, like, hey, what's up? You joined Coders Who Travel. What are your expectations? How do you want to be aligned to our mission and whatever? So keep that in mind. And people have just signed up, just through Google Ads and our website and LinkedIn. And the more people sign up, the more networks we get. So this is just, a multiplier from this. I'm sure you guys all know Regina Ejari, so she was in the US, and I was like, we got to do an interview. So we have a whole interview of her breaking down challenges in infrastructure. She touched on everything. She was very, very candid. Since I came here, I actually visited her also at Soronko. She's done a good job. I'm really proud of her. And then, I attended this event, and there was, they were doing a pitch event, and this guy came and talked about how a podcast is so easy. And at the end of the event, I was like, oh, really? So I've done my first podcast. You're one of the first people to know. Next slide. But it's all to share more about that. Again, at the beginning, these are all just evolving. The more we talk to local people, the more they are like. One of my questions with Regina Ejari was like, Charlie, what is the average developer salary? She said from her surveys, it's about $300. I was like, wow. So now that I know that information, obviously these figures keep changing. But the idea is that if we get an expert and we get a bridge builder and a local guru, why invest in a company to partner up? Maybe we can all explore how to take the technology space forward, in a sort of an information exchange. Next slide. Most Ghanaian young people, if we said, we are going to go to America, provide a US application fee, a lot of them will provide it, without talking about it. And the reason why I want to at least get that hook is I've realized that when you host just free events, people don't take it seriously. It can be whatever time they like, they waste your time. And it's like, it takes a lot forethought to organize a workshop. And so every youth that come along, and the minimum, the US visa, if you want to go, if you do Japan too, it will be the Japan visa application. And again, these numbers, we will change all of them, but the idea is if someone's a local who, I put this up without, now I've talked to Regina Ejari who told me it's at $300, so really this is a bit high, and all these numbers will change. And the more it changes, there will be a lot of moving parts. So I just know from my work with Women Who Code that that's how much it costs to really develop like a good community. So next slide. Next slide. I've already touched on, so if you're in the US, PayPal, MNT Bank via the website, coderswhotravel/donate. Here, we have Express Pay, but we're looking at EcoBank too very soon. And Dr. Jackson said he has contacts at EcoBank, so we can't wait. And, earlier on I touched on the miles, the taxis, and the trains. That bank will really facilitate this, and these rewards will really facilitate, and this internet will really facilitate. Next slide. Our favorite part is our people. Next slide. Me here, I already talked so much about myself, so in the previous one, so I'm a trained statistician and operations researcher, but I've been doing more programming and event planning, volunteering and stuff like that. I'm really looking for more event planners who can help me because I really enjoy analytics, because that's my background, I like to do SaaS, Tableau, dashboards, and help executives make decisions, But right now, it looks like I'm doing more event planning. So please, if you know event planners who want to help, that would be great. She works at Microsoft. We shared a room at a former classmate's wedding. There's a CRM product that we would like to look into. And it turns out that she manages that product. How cool is that? So, Appiah, this is Amma Kusi, this is Appiah Osam. She helps us just think through things. This is Regina. She's decided to come on as an advisor and possibly a partner. Next slide, please. This is Dr. Jackson. We already saw him today. He's helping us with, again, maybe EcoBank relationships and not particularly EcoBank, doesn't have to just be EcoBank. And then for me, it's really the distance learning initiative. You guys heard a lot about Albert Kusi Appiah. He helped me connect to Dr. Otina Baby, so really good. Dr. Isaac Beidou is one of the reasons I didn't quit on computer science and statistics. Wow. He was a fresh Ghanaian American who was full of energy, and I told him I'm quitting. He's like, no, you're not. You're not. Can you imagine that he started showing me like facts, and all that, signed me up for American Statistical Association. I started getting their brochures. I'm like, hey, statisticians. Say, oh, and then Eunice Obuje, she has a book on Amazon right now. I think it's designing Kotlin applications with Android. Okay. I found her through my work with Women Who Code Accra. Okay. So there have been great things in spite of challenges. She was very shy, and I'm happy that now she has a book. Can you imagine? But she's always been solid, and she's someone I would think of as a local group, because when I've spoken to guys because in these spaces, the women are few, but when I was talking to people like, I need women, they were like, hey, Eunice, and they kept coming up. And then I'll talk to her and she's like, me, I don't do facilitate. Wrong girl, but I'm proud of her that she has a book now on Amazon. Yeah. She's the same person here. She works at US Treasury, data scientist, same alumni, George Mason. She's a physicist first, but she wasn't finding a job. So she studied statistics and then she found a job. Wow. So she's a good person to also inspire. I met him at the conference. He's amazing. I told him about, hey, I'm going to Ghana. He's like, wow, my son plays soccer, and his favorite is to be Appiah. Hey! So we kept in touch, and me, I love SAS, so he works there. She's such a dear friend. I can't begin to communicate how much she's helped my life, like such a very dear friend, co-worker who crossed over to become a friend. I was working at the think tank, and she just saw leadership potential in me, so she said there's a minority internship initiative, and I think if can initiate that, so it's good to have people like that who come along to just help. And our coders who travel. I remember I was working with some Asian girl. She's so smart and we connect, but it always felt competitive, like with Christina, you just don't get it. She's equally amazing, but I mean, she's concerned with what she's doing, and she just wants to be supported. And he's part of the reason we are doing market research. He contributed to the Impact Hub, the Impact Day workshop, and provided feedback about focus groups and market research study, since there were barriers to launching customized solutions. Next slide. It's my old boss, amazing, smart, married to another smart who makes like 2 times hair salary. I know, lives in a very big house, but very humble, like I really enjoyed. I think I miss him. Maybe looking back, maybe I shouldn't have left my job at that point. That was mathematica, but I mean, she really, I don't know why, she would take complex programs of hers and somehow throw it at me and say, oh, you can do it, you can do it. And then I'm like, I don't think I can do it. I was just like, you can't do it. And then if you make mistakes, it's like she doesn't take it personal, like she go to consulting room and she said, oh, you messed here, okay, so now continue. And that really helped. And before long, she put me in charge of managing national congressionally mandated reports for National Science Foundation. Like, if you get a good supervisor, you'll be amazed at your confidence and, and all that. He's co-founder of Statistics Without Borders, and they were the reason why Women Who Code Accra was successful. Even though I was working with the organization, this Statistics Without Borders, they provided so much resources, who provided course slides and stuff to make this work. And he's like the male version of Christina. Work buddy, take me to lunch on my first day, say, oh, I'll take care of it. And this is Deloitte, and pressure, when you get there, most people want corporate jobs, actually, pressure, but, so he was like, you know what, all these work smart, no, we are overwhelmed. So just take it easy, This is normal. You are being overworked, so understand that, and you want that dear friend. And he handles our accounting and budgets, Chris. Yeah. Interns, they come in pairs. For some reason, someone comes and someone comments the other person. So I found her first, and she commented this one. They are doing an amazing job, like their energy. They always ask me, what's next? It really keeps me on my toes. And he does good with editing, summarizing things, and she is coaching. No nonsense. You can't fly. No, yeah, she wants blockchain, but Charlie, if you send her rubbish, she'll tell you this is rubbish. Next slide. So it's good to have it. And we are updating the slide, right? Right here in Ghana, we have biomedical engineer. She came and then she brought Dominic. And we have Adole, and Marina. So next slide, I want to see that.
This is the last one, 22 of 22.
Oh, great.
Adole of Idol College.
Possibly. Am I able to keep up with it? But if you know it, yeah, that would be good. Oh, I see. Yeah. So make sure you see. So why don't you give me my email? I'll definitely make that connection.
Okay, sure.
I hope she can help with the community engagement thing. Yeah. And she came from IPMC, and when they meet KNUST people, their confidence is, I was like, no, you are taking meeting notes. And she took perfect notes. And I'm like, why is this girl, you know? So I'm so glad her confidence is also changing. So thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.